let's have a better understanding of our host. So I log in. I have done a heavy customization in my environment to cut short the runtime of the demo. So if you want to know the host details, what I am running, mine is a virtual machine. This is my DB host. It has got 6 CPU cores, roughly around 25 GB of memory, and this is today's date. And then I have these databases running. So this is my 11G database A, this is my 11G database B, this will be upgraded to 19C, this will be upgraded to 12.2, then I have NCDB 12.1, NCDB 12.2, 18C databases, and I have many 19C databases. Out of these, the test and source I use for other demonstrations not related to this topic. But the CDB all is what one needs to focus. This is going to be the database where all my upgrades would be done as PDBs, and all of them are running. So I use ASM for everything. All my databases are stored on ASM disk group, and these are those databases. Now let us look at one after the other the DB details so that you understand. I have a short menu utility. You can choose a database and then you can say DB details. DB details will print you the details. As you could see, this is an 112040 database, NCDB 112A in archive log mode. These are the registry components and their versions. I said menu, I said 2, then again I say DB details. This is my another database, NCDB 112B, again of 112040 version, the registry components. Then I go and pick up the third one. Again I say DB details. This is my 121020 database. All the databases are patched with October 2020 PSU, by the way. And this is the name of my database. Understand now here it has got database vault and it has got Oracle label security, and it also has got an Apex schema, and this Apex schema is going to give me some headaches during the auto upgrade run. That's because I do not pay much attention as one would have expected to all the warnings, errors that it shows me. And then I go to the next one, that is 12.2 database. Again I say DB details. So this is a 12C release 2 database, NCDB 112. Eventually it will be upgraded to 19C as one of the pluggable databases. All the component versions are 12.2. This all database as well also has Oracle label security and Oracle database vault components installed. Then my fifth one, again I say DB details. This is a 18C environment, 18.12 to be very precise, given that I already applied October PSU, 2020 PSU. Name of the database is NCDB 18C. It will also be eventually upgraded to 19C as a pluggable database. And lastly, my container database. I say DB details, DB details. So this is my 19C database. Name of it is CDB all. It already has some 19C components, but notice that it currently do not have the database vault and Oracle label security. I deliberately created a custom container database, and as part of the creation steps, I did not install Oracle label security and Oracle database vault. That's because I wanted it to be deficient in one way or the other, so that my databases which I am planning to push as PDBs inside this would complain saying, okay, the components that we need, our container does not provide those components, and hence it will report certain errors. And then I am going to jump into and install those components, so on and so forth. For your understanding, I am running PDBs, which is a shortcut. It shows me what all pluggable databases this database has got. So all that I have is a PDBC 19C database, which is not open, and then there's a PDB $seed, which is in a read-only mode as expected. So what is expected now is, let's run. Remember, how are we going to run through this demo? First, I am going to run it in a noob mode, analyze part. So I said, let us analyze, am I all set for the upgrade? Let me open a VNC session. I am going to run all my commands in a VNC, so that even my connection gets broken, it's going to be a long running demo, roughly around 2.5 hours. Although my video may not be that long, because I will cut the video portions which are irrelevant. So I set up the environment by sourcing my .bash profile file. That's where I have defined all my functions, .bash profile, and then I say menu, and then I set my environment to that of my container database. Just to show you what type of an auto upgrade utility I have got, I said which Java. Remember, I have set, if not I have set, I must set it now, that I must use the Java version latest and greatest. 19C by default comes with the Java version 1.8, and remember, I told you in my previous session that you must be using JDK 1.8. Lower versions are not supported by the auto upgrade utility. So let me set my path to whatever Oracle Home JDK path I have. So Oracle Home JDK bin and my path. Now I say which Java, and now it picks up the right Java. Just to show you what version of Java I run, in my Oracle Home JDK bin directory, I am using the Java version 1.8.0 261. That's good enough for my practice. Let us understand what version of auto upgrade utility I am using. The auto upgrade utility is bundled nowadays as part of your Oracle Home under Oracle Home RDBMS admin, and I am running the latest one. Remember, I have two files there, the previous version and the later version. I have already downloaded the latest version of the auto upgrade jar file from the Metalink note, which I suggested you earlier, and I have already copied that file here. So I said, show me the version. It says this is a auto upgrade utility version 19.10. It was delivered on 23rd of October, just 7-8 days back. So I downloaded the latest version using this auto upgrade.jar utility. The highest version one can upgrade the database is 19C, but one can use the same auto upgrade utility to upgrade the lower version databases to 12.2 or to 18C or to 19C. I already have a backup of the previous utility here. The previous utility that I used to have here, I have renamed it because I downloaded the latest one from Metalink. Where to download it from? Watch my first presentation on auto upgrade. So remember, the previous utility version was 19.9.1. The latest one is 19.10. The previous one was released on 10th of July, whereas the latest one is released on 23rd of October, just 7-8 days back. So it is always recommended that if you have an auto upgrade utility in your Oracle Home RDBMS admin directory, you should rename it. If you want to retain the older versions only, then one can delete it as well. And then always download from the Oracle support website the latest auto upgrade utility. I have given the Metalink note in my first part where to download the latest version from. So everything is set. Let us run. Let me show you first my config file. So the upg warzone.cfg, exactly the same file that I have shown you earlier on my PPT, the PowerPoint presentation. It's exactly the same file that I have here. Now it says, when would you like to start an upgrade? You have an option to start an upgrade at a later time. You can mention DD, MM, YY, hours, minutes, second in 24-hour clock, especially if you do not want to do that now. So imagine the date now is October 31st 9:23 p.m. and I do not want this particular upgrade to begin immediately. Then use whatever prefix you have used to identify this upgrade, and then one can say the upgrade time, normally we say it as now, but in this particular case I would say no, I don't want to do it now, I would like to do it sometime later. So it's already 9:25, which means 21, let's say 26:00. So I said no, don't start it now, start it after 2 minutes is what I am suggesting here. Once your config file is ready, all that you need to say is java-jar, give the complete path of your auto upgrade jar file, give the path for your config file, which is in my home directory AutoUpg folder. The name of my file is upgwarzone.cfg and mode is analyze. So I am saying please run it now in analyze mode. So I provided the location of the jar file, auto upgrade jar file, I provided the config file, and I said I am noob, I don't dare to directly start with an upgrade. So let me understand first how Oracle goes and performs a pre-upgrade information check. So it will go to each of those source databases and perform a pre-upgrade list. I said show me what all activities are running. Remember, you are not on the OS prompt any longer now, you are on the auto upgrade command prompt, and these are the job IDs. Each particular database will get a different separate job ID for my analyze phase, and now it will go and look into each of those databases to see if everything is okay, and if there is something to complain about, it should tell me what is that is not okay. So you see everything is started except one. Here it says it is scheduled. I said why is it scheduled? It says that's because you mentioned a different start time, and it has already finished doing certain checks, my time has come and it is now running for the remaining database also. So let us see how it has gone through all the log files, and all of them have been evaluated. I come back directly to the OS prompt once all the jobs were run. I do not know as of now as to how things have gone, whether there are problems, no problems. So I go to the top level folder of my log location. The log location is mentioned in the global parameter section, auto upg log directory. I go to that section and you see there is a CFG tool logs, and for each database there is a separate folder created by Oracle. It is just like old days we used to run prior to the start of an upgrade, pre-upgrade information tool. Now in the pre-upgrade information tool, it generates, when I run it in an analyze mode now, for each one of them it has generated an HTML file which tells me what is the state of each of my databases. So let me open each of those pre-upgrade informations for those files. So I go back to MNT location in my computer, under MNT, under stage, under upgrade logs. Let's go in the same order. So let's go to 11G release to database A. This was the job ID assigned to it, remember. So 11 to A database had a job ID 102. So it created a folder with the same number, job ID. And then there are pre-checks that it has done, and I go to pre-upgrade HTML file report that this utility has generated. So it has flagged how many errors, how many warnings, how many recommendations, how many information items, what are the post check warnings and recommendations if any. So I see it uses different colors for each one of them depending upon the severity. Example, errors are with a red header. So it says that your recycle bin is not empty, which I know, I deliberately kept certain objects in the recycle bin. But then I said I don't care, because the auto upgrade can automatically fix this error as part of the upgrade. And then all others are in orange colors because the severity is warning, and for all of them auto upgrade can fix it as part of my upgrade process. There are certain elements which may be of a different color, that's because they are recommendations. And then there are green color items which are of the type information, so on and so forth. So all that I see that it didn't find anything to complain about for NCDB 112A. It says there's only one item, that is purging a recycle bin, but it also does not require my manual intervention. Auto upgrade can take care of emptying up my recycle bin. What is important to understand is, look at this particular item, that it says your database seems to have an enterprise manager repository schema, and it must be removed as part of the upgrade, as part of the pre-upgrade steps. And I said, do I need to do that? It says no, there's a fix up available, I can take care of that, you don't have to manually do that. And remember, I am going to upgrade this database from 11.2040 to 19C. Let's go and check the other one. So I said open, and I said the other one is NCDB 112B. Remember, we are upgrading this to 12.2. I said, how is the status? It says nothing much to complain, only one error, that is that recycle bin of this database is also not empty. Everything else is fixable by the auto upgrade utility. Remember here now, it also complains saying it has got an enterprise manager repository schema, but it will be automatically replaced with the enterprise manager repository of version 12.2. So understand the difference. Here I am upgrading this to 19C, so it uses a EM remove script from 19C. Here I am doing it for 12.2, so it runs the EM remove script from 12.c. I said, what's the matter with the other databases that I have, which is 12.1. So I go to NCDB 12.1 and I look for the pre-check reports, HTML report. Here we have got a lot of problems. So it says you are planning to upgrade this NCDB 112.1 database to 19C PDB, but it looks like your container database CDB all does not have database vault and Oracle label security, but this database uses those components. So it's a no-go, and this is something that auto upgrade cannot fix. It says no, I cannot fix this. There's a recycle bin is not empty, it says, but there's a fix up available, so I need not worry about this. Then it says you also have problems with the Apex schema. The Apex schema that you have in this database is of the version 4.2, and you cannot take the Apex schema as part of the upgrade. If you are not a serious user of it, drop it. If you really want to retain Apex schema, then upgrade is before the actual DB upgrade, because upgrade can no longer take care of upgrading the Apex schema versions to the higher releases. Moreover, you do not seem to have Apex installed in the CDB all database, where eventually this would become one of the pluggable databases. So remember 3 errors in this case. Rest others are auto fixable warnings and whatnot. So I don't care much about them because they are fixable probably. And then whichever are not fixable, remember I told you that it complains about that you must do a manual upgrade of the Apex schema. Upgrade Oracle Apex manually before or after the DB upgrade, because Oracle starting from 18C can no longer upgrade the Apex schema as part of the DB upgrades. So I know what problems I have got. One is because my CDB is not ready. I said let me not spend any more time, and my CDB is deficient. Let me install the database vault and Oracle label security into it. So my environment is already set to 19C. I launch DBCA, and I will get those components installed in my database. Before I get it installed, I want to show you the DB details component before and after. Then I said menu, I set the environment to 19C, and I said DB details. DB details. This is before. Remember, in your installed components, I do not see DB or OLS, database vault or OLS. That's what I am here to fix up. So I said configure an existing database. I am going to select my CDB, provide the username password which can do sysdb activities into it. And then it says, tell me what are you trying to do. I said I want Oracle label security and I want Oracle database vault. And the reason for doing this is because the databases that I am planning to upgrade 12.1, 12.2, 18C, they would need these components because they use those components which are currently not there in my container database. So I said just install them. I don't have any intention to configure it. So I said no change, otherwise I do not want everything else. So all that I want. Now it says you have got a problem. I said the problem is because I do not have my pluggable database open. Remember, whenever you do a config change, all your pluggable databases must be open. So I had to close it. Then I log on to SQL Plus. The reason why it is erroring out is because of the fact that when I say PDBs, one of the PDB is mounted, not opened. So I must, and if I am doing any config changes to my container databases, all the pluggable databases must be open. So I said alter pluggable database, whatever, open. And once that is open, then I am going to relaunch DBCA and go and make those fixes. Then I launch DBCA, I come back and I would say install now the database vault and the Oracle label security component required by the databases that I am planning to upgrade. So I said configure an existing database. It says which one? I said container database CDB all. My sysdba user which has sysdba privileges in my database to go and do those config changes. It loads the information. It says what is that you are looking for? I said I am looking for Oracle label security and Oracle database vault. I don't intend to configure it. I just want those components to be there in my DB registry. I do not want anything else. And I said yes. It says I am going to shut down the database as part of this configuration. Are you okay with it? I said yes, feel free to shut down my container database. So it will stop the container database, it will start it up, and then it will install the Oracle label security and the Oracle database vault. There's no point. It roughly takes around 5 to 10 minutes to get this job done. In the meanwhile, we have other things to do. So I said now this should not be a problem because it was complaining about missing database vault and OLS, which I am getting it installed parallelly. I need not be much worried about recycle bin because auto upgrade can purge recycle bin. Now this is something I want you to understand. It says you have got an apex. This apex is going to cause us problems, and because of it, remember this is error, red color background. And because I am noob, I do not understand the upgrades properly, I am going to downplay this particular error. I said let me ignore it, and because I choose to ignore this, auto upgrade will fail for my database. And then I would realize, oh yeah, there was an error, I should have fixed it. And then I will go it, once my auto upgrade job fails, I will go and fix that particular thing by removing the apex schema in my case would be the fix. And then I will resume the failed upgrade, and I would continue from that point onwards. I am opening another one. Let's see what's the matter with 12.2 database. What are the failures reported by pre-checks, if any? It says, yeah, the same failure that you saw for 12.1, that your target database CDB does not have database vault and Oracle label security. Only one failure in this case. I said, that's good. No worries, I am fixing it now. And a similar check I would do for my 18C database. I go to 18C and then I go through the HTML report, pre-upgrade, pre-checks HTML report. It again says only one error, and that is again about your CDB not having database vault and Oracle label security. I said, that's fine, that's being taken care of right now. Let's come back here. It has almost installed the Oracle label security and Oracle database vault components into the registry, and once it is done, I am going to rerun the analyze phase to see that these errors are gone. The plugin compatibility errors for database vault and Oracle label security, which are for 12.1, 12.2 and 18C, all of them should be gone, because now I have gone and fixed my container database registry by installing those missing components. So here it's done. I close it. I close my browser. I have taken a good look at all the reports, and then I run DB details. Additionally, now you see that earlier, this was prior to, there was no database vault, there was no Oracle label security, but now both those components are there in my container database. If that's the case, then I should get a cleaner report this time. So I said, rerun the analyze phase one more time. Remember, rerunning analyze is simply going into the source databases and checking, is everything there that you need to have in place, or are there any problems. So I said LSJ on the upgrade prompt, means list the jobs, and it is saying that it's almost going to run all of them. So you see it is performing the checks, it is loading information, it is loading information, it is loading information. One of them is scheduled. Apparently it cannot handle all of these tasks all at the same time. So I said, show me. It says for one of them, 106, the job is already done. You could see the checks as stopped and finished. Most of them are almost on the verge of completion. It picks up the last one. Let us launch Firefox and see what is the status now. Remember, the job IDs are as 105 to 109. I said, let me see a cleaner report this time. So I go to UPG logs. Let's go again in the same sequence, 11.2 database A, and the new job ID and the new pre-checks and the new HTML file. It says only one error, recycle bin. I said, you have no change, because in 11G there was only one error that it was showing right from the early times, and that was about the recycle bin not being empty. I go to 11.2B database, the next job ID, and I said, show me a HTML report. It says no change. I still have the same error, which is that your recycle bin is not empty. I said, now I am interested more in 12.1, 12.2 and 18C databases. I said, what's the matter with 12.1? And in my 12.1, those database vault related messages are gone. Those Oracle label security related messages are gone. What remains, instead of 3, there are 2 errors now. One is your recycle bin is not empty, but that's not a concern for me because auto upgrade can take care. And the one that is going to cause me headaches, because I choose to ignore this error. So I said, let me ignore this for the time being, and I will go and directly apply an upgrade, and this would give me problems then. I said, what's the matter with 12.2 database? I am reviewing the pre-upgrade information for 12.2. It says no more error. So your CDB, database vault, Oracle label security deficiencies are all fixed. I said, what's the matter with 18C? How is the pre-upgrade information looks? No errors at all for 18C. All set for a good upgrade to begin. I said, if that's the case, then let's fire in the hole. Let's begin the actual upgrade. Command remains same except for the mode. I said mode should be deploy, means let's do the heavy lifting. Remember, I still have an error condition in my 12.1 database. That's because of my Apex schema related things have not been taken care of, and one of the upgrade tasks that would run through is bound to fail, and then I would jump into and I will try to fix it. Remember, I am in a noob mode. I do not know much about upgrades. I do not know much about auto upgrade utility. And I said, are you fine? It says yes, 5 databases are being processed in the deploy mode. Remember, deploy mode means analyze, pre-checks, prefix, shutdown, DB upgrade, post upgrade task, which is invalid compilation of invalid objects, and then plug in the database as a pluggable database, and post upgrade activities if any. All of them have started. So it says starting, and it already complained for my database. This is what I was expecting. It says you have got a problem. For non-CDB 121, pre-checks have failed, the operation has stopped, and it has stopped with an error. The error is UPG 1303, and a failed check which has an error severity, but the fix-up is not available. Auto upgrade cannot fix it on its own. That's why this upgrade cannot continue. I said, that's fine, I will take a look at it. What about others? It says others are almost good to go. I said, that's fine, let them continue. So it is going to do setup, preparing, whatnot, different phases in each mode that it is going to run through. So there's a stage, there's an operation, and there's an operation status. In the meanwhile, let us go and see why it complained about 12.1. I am new, I didn't realize. So I am somebody who depends upon the logs. I said, let's go and see in the log files what's the problem with 12.1 database. I said, what was the problem for you that you couldn't continue? So remember, there were pre-checks, and these are the log files. There's an error log. I said, what was the problem? Everyone else is happy with the upgrade. What's wrong with you? It says auto upgrade has encountered an error. I said, what kind of an error is this? So it says see more details in the error log file, and it says no, I cannot continue. My job ID was 110, but apparently there's some problem, and for a detailed log you can check the user log, not an error log. So I said, what's the problem? It requires a manual fix, but what requires a manual fix? It says while I was doing some checks have failed. If you want to go and check, so the whole of my upgrade job 110 has failed with this error. And then I go to pre-checks. I said, what's wrong with the pre-checks? And I'm checking what is that has gone wrong, and somewhere I must see here I get in the pre-checks this particular error. It says error pending Apex mismatch. PDB has installed a common Apex. CDB does not have Apex installed at all, and that's the reason. And then I realized, oh my God, yes, I remember in the pre-upgrade it has shown me an error, but I underplayed it, and that's why my job has failed. Let's see, my job has indeed failed. I said LSJ, list all the running jobs. Everything else is progressing fine. Everything else is progressing fine, but this one has specifically stopped. I know now what needs to be done. I said, oh, I am not a serious user of Apex schema, so let me remove the Apex schema entirely. So I set up my environment to that of 12.1 database. Then I log in. Well, before I log in, I show you DB details, and I already have an Apex schema installed. I must remove it. So I log on, and then from the Oracle home I believe the script is in Apex folder. I already have the location documented. So all that I need to run is apx remove script, which is in Oracle Home Apex folder. So from 12.1.0.2.0 database, the component that is causing me problems, because of which my auto upgrade job number 110 has failed, I am removing those components from my database. And once that's done, there are a couple of public synonyms that one could expect. Not all the versions have these public synonyms, but as part of a cleanup process, I am going to remove those Apex schema components from my database entirely. While I do this, I said, what's the matter here? So you see here, it is remaining 4 of 7, which prefix up it is running. So certain errors, prefix ups that are required, it is executing it. There were 6 of them, remaining are 4. Here everything is 4 of 7 are pending. Here it has already run the prefix stage. Now it is in a drain stage. Drain means shut down the source database. And here my 12.1 is still stopped with an error. I said lsj. You can keep on typing lsj as many times as you want to get a good feeling of how the upgrade is progressing. So now you see the stage this was in 18C was in a drain mode. Now it is in a DB upgrade mode. And now it says I am running a DB upgrade for this one. Whereas others are still catching up with the upgrade related activities. I come back into my session. Here Apex schema is still being removed. All that I am going to do at the end of it is to remove all the synonyms, public synonyms which were used by Apex schema, and then I am going to resume the failed upgrade job. It may not resume immediately because my CPU is strained. The default is when you run multiple database upgrades, the auto upgrade utility looks at your CPU utilization and it won't start a new database upgrade if the total CPU free is 10% or below. And in my case, there are already 4 databases under upgrade. They must be hammering my CPU left, right and center, consuming all the compute power of my machine. So even if I drop the Apex schema and I resume my upgrade job, I do not expect the upgrade to be picked up almost immediately. So I have done the cleanup. I come back. I said, what's the status here? So you see, this one is being upgraded, this one is being upgraded, this one is being upgraded, and this one is already into prefix stage. The only one that is not being picked up, and it's because of the error of my Apex schema, is this one. I can say resume job and my job ID is 110. I said pick it up now. I have gone and fixed everything. So it says okay, I am going to resume your job, which is currently in a error state, is stopped in pre-check stage. This is for the database non-CDB 121 12.1 database. And I said if you have picked up, it should all start. But as you could see, it has not started yet. You don't have to worry much about it. You have already done your job. You have already changed the status by saying resume that job. It will pick up now once when I have sufficient CPU spare on the machine. Currently that might not be the case. So I am running a top command to show you my CPU utilization, and all my CPU between the heartbeats, it must have a CPU free of 10% or more for a good amount of time between the heartbeats. The heartbeat, I believe, if I am not wrong, is 60 seconds cycle. So for good 60 seconds, it should see that the CPU free must be 10% or above, and only then it would pick up my next upgrade job. Otherwise, it will queue it up, and all my upgrades are running all at the same time. So you could see all the databases are being upgraded. I said, what's the status now? LSJ, and it says, oh, it's still stopped. Don't worry, it's not stopped because you couldn't resume it. You resumed it, but because it couldn't find enough CPU resources free, that's why it says, oh, it's going to take some time. I will pick it up once I see some free CPU available on your machine. Had I been running it on a larger machine with more CPUs, probably instantaneously, the moment I say resume job 110, it would have picked up that job and it would have started upgrade. So remember, I am upgrading now 5 databases in one single auto upgrade command. So just you need to have a right config file. You can get familiar with the command prompt of auto upgrade tool by typing help. You have exit, help, lsj is list the jobs. You have restoration queue if a job has failed and you decide to restore back your database to a guaranteed restore point, then you can do that. You can see how many jobs are in a aborted state. Abort means a DB has stopped doing that upgrade by manually intervening it. Then you can see what tasks are running. You can see, you can clear up the terminal. You can resume a job which we have just done. Job number 110 we have resumed. You can check for the status of a job. You can restore a job and you can restore all failed jobs. And then you can look at logs location. You can say logs and it will print you all the logs location. It says this is the parent folder and inside that there's a CFG tool logs upgrade auto upgrade directory, and then for each of those databases there are separate folders. So here are some of those commands that you could see here. Interesting one is status command. I said simply status and you could see a complete running commentary of what's happening. So I said this is my user config file, these are the log location, the mode that my upgrade is running is in the deploy mode, which type of errors during upgrade are treated as fatal. By default only Aura 600 and Aura 7445 errors are treated as fatal. Post upgrade abort time is 60 minutes by default. The upgrade abort time, if my upgrade cannot complete in these many minutes, then it will be treated as a hang job and it would be aborted. Restore abort time, these are coming from the settings of an auto upgrade utility. Settings is another hidden set of parameters one could pass to auto upgrade utility, which we have not done. We are depending upon the default ones. Then I said the total databases to be upgraded is 5, the non-CDB count is 5, the job is started, one job is finished in an aborted state which currently it is, although we have resumed it, but it has not picked it up yet. And then the jobs in progress are 4. I said which are those jobs. It says the job ID 112 is for this database. It took less than a minute to run setup, less than a minute to establish a guaranteed restore point, less than a minute for all pre-upgrade checks, for pre-checks, for 2 minutes close to for pre-fix up, 1 minute, less than a minute to shut down the database, and is already in a DB upgrade phase for last 4 minutes, which is in progress. The job ID for this one is 113. I said what's the matter for 18C, what's the matter for my another 11.2 database which will be upgraded to 12.2, what's the matter with my 12.1 database. Now it says only pre-checks. Remember we have resumed it, but it didn't find sufficient time to pick up that job. It will pick it up once it has some free CPU available. And then the last one is 12.2 being upgraded and all of them are running, and you could see how many Java threads are in use, how much Java virtual machine memory is being used, how much CPU in use by auto upgrade, not by the complete machine, and how many processes are in use. With that you can frequently keep on monitoring LSJ. So you could see this one is 8% upgraded, this one is 18% upgraded, this one is 18% upgraded, this is 1% upgraded, and this one it has not yet picked up. That's because my machine is under fire. So it's busy doing a lot of activities, but eventually it will pick it up the moment it finds some CPU free. It has an internal timer of its own. It says for certain amount of time, if I do not see the CPU free percentage to 10%, and then I am not going to start a new upgrade. So let it finish, and at some juncture it's going to pick it up for sure. You see at the moment my CPU idle percentage is only 2%, and that's below the threshold that the auto upgrade utility uses by default. The default threshold is 10% of the CPU free over the sampling period. Now there's no point I doing watching of this one, because it's going to run for a good 2 hours, probably more, because now one of my upgrade is on the mercy of the CPU that is available, and it will pick it up. So there's no point I holding on this video. If there are important bits and pieces, if I do anything, remember there's nothing that I need to do now. I just have to wait for the entire upgrade to finish. So I'm going to pause this video and I will resume. If there is something interesting that comes up, then I will show you. Until then, I am putting a pause.